Welcome to What the Church Won't Say,
where we have difficult conversations at the foot of the cross.
Yes.
Today we have a great conversation for you. We will be talking about, is there an attack on masculinity? It's funny I'm bringing this up because I've been watching movies. I've been watching all type of things, even on YouTube. And there seems to be something going on, a reoccurring theme. Even in movies, I'm seeing that men in these movies are being portrayed as being soft.
Yes.
They're being portrayed as being feminine.
Yes.
They're being portrayed as being confused.
Yes.
And the women has to take the lead to put things in order. And that is torturing me to my soul.
Yes.
So I asked this question: what is going on? Why is it? And even this, I feel like people are saying when you embrace your masculinity, when you know who you are, that you're toxic.
Yes.
That you can't understand another perspective. Like you can't be a healthy man, masculine man, and still see things from other people's perspective. So I'm gonna throw that out there as a caveat. What do y'all feel about this subject?
I think being a man, right, masculine, means to be a leader, right? And I think being a leader, you're called to be of service to other people, to be humble,
Yeah.
to be strong. Like if you're gonna serve people, you have to be strong, right? You have to be mindful of other people. You have to put aside your weaknesses, how you're feeling, and be of service to people, right? And I look at that as a huge characteristic of being a part of the kingdom of God is to serve, right?
It is.
And so if we're not strong enough to serve, we're not productive. And if we're not productive, we don't have purpose. And if we don't have purpose, I mean, where does that put society?
And I'll throw in there what you're saying, man. Like being a leader also means you're going to challenge people. You're going to hold people accountable.
Yeah.
You're going to call them on the carpet. And some reason when that happens as a man, we're toxic. We're chauvinistic just because we are holding people accountable, because we making people stand on what they said they would do. What you think, Cass?
The word that is coming to my mind is disruption. When you are a man and you embody that, because that's a God-given gift. Before you are anything else, before you're a father, before you're a son, before you are a career man, you are a man.
Right.
That's what God showed me.
Absolutely.
Okay? And when you are a man, you are called to disrupt the systems that are put in place in this world. If you think about the beginning of the creation, that's exactly what Adam did. He was placed on the garden to disrupt, in a sense, how everything was, to make sure that there was a disruption on the lack of growth, on the nothingness. He was supposed to take care of the garden, make sure that it thrived, okay? And so, like, if you look at the world right now, the king of this world is Satan. And he has created systems to oppress people. That is where true oppression comes from, okay? Because we battle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities. That's what the word says. Yeah. So when a man embraces his masculinity, I think that even men that are not believers, but that just embrace their masculinity, they disrupt that, okay? Because it's in our nature to want to be creators, to want to be leaders, to want to have goodness in our lives, and also give goodness to other people, So, and it also, there is a clear distinction. This is the zone where there's only black and white. Either you're a man or you're a woman.
That's true.
Okay, and even in the Bible says, that either you're in or you're out. God says, if you are
hot or cold,
if you are warm, I'm going to spit you out of my mouth. And so I think that what the devil is trying to do, he's attacking men, because men are the leaders, but he wants us to be in this gray area. Because when you're in a gray area, you're a double-minded person. I agree. You have no a definite purpose. You cannot make a solid decision and say, you know what, we're sticking to this, even if you're wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, even if you're wrong.
Yeah.
But at least you know who you are. And I think that gray area is confusion, right?
Correct.
When you think about the first duty that God gave to Adam, be fruitful, multiply. That's cool, right? But subdue it. Subdue the earth.
There you go.
Yeah.
And so if you don't know who you are, how can you subdue anything? They won't even let us, if we say anything these days, everyone's offended.
Absolutely.
Dave Chappelle almost got canceled. I mean, Andrew Tate, all these people that get canceled for embracing their masculinity. They want us so confused to the point where there's no gender roles. There is no gender.
Correct.
Absolutely.
I don't associate with gender. So I'm not a man or I'm not a girl.
So
It's crazy.
if he has man in a confused state in this gray area that you guys are discussing it, we are unconsciously training the next generation of young men to duplicate and implement those things. And anybody that want to display and embrace their masculinity, he's locking them up, he's talking about them or having this world talk about them like we're toxic, and everything they say is being basically discredited.
Yes.
So at this point in time, it's a verse in the Bible that says, if you attack the shepherd, the sheep will scatter.
Amen.
If I can attack these men, if I can take them out of the household, I can feast on the young men and the women. But the first thing I need them to understand or think is that the masculine man is evil.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I can get that, then they will fight with me without knowing.
Yes.
That's the way I'm looking at this thing.
that's the devil's biggest deception.
Yes.
Because and he's been doing a great job at it. Like you mentioned at the beginning, in the movies, in the songs,
Yes.
all this female empowerment. Like
Exactly.
I'm not against a woman, fulfilling her desires, being productive, having a career. I'm not against none of that, but I believe that the heart behind it is to oppress men.
Absolutely.
To oppress the authority of a man, to oppress the vision that a man has, the logic. Okay, because as you were saying, if you cut off the head of every kingdom, the kingdom falls.
Absolutely.
And in a family, the man is the king. And if you disrupt that, then you are destroying families. When you destroy families, you destroy communities, and essentially you destroy societies, and you bring the societies into chaos, which are more easily manipulated.
There's a verse in the Bible that, go ahead, bro. What you gonna say?
This country they've done a great job in this country especially, brainwashing society.
Yes.
Right, to the point where I saw this study where they were putting atrazine in the water, and they're telling us to drink 8 glasses of water a day. And atrazine, they did an experiment, and I think there was like 3,000 nanograms that they're putting in the water, and they put 300, right?
What is atrazine and what does it do?
They put atrazine in a little. They had a frog, right, and they put him in this little glass or a cup, and they put just 300. And when they took him out, the frog turned into a woman, like a female frog. A male frog turned in. So it's pretty much producing high levels of estrogen.
Yes.
Which makes sense. It's alluding into what I was about to go. There's a verse in the Bible that a lot of people try to understand. It says, out of 1,000 men, I found one to be faithful. Out of all the women, I found none to be faithful. Ecclesiastes. And it's a very interesting verse. And I always wondered, what is that he didn't find no woman to be faithful? And this is not a knock on women,
right,
but I think it's talking about the character of a woman. I think we all know that women are more emotional.
Yes.
If a woman is more emotional, then that's easier to be manipulated.
Of course.
That's easier to make them do what you want if you can tap into emotions.
Yes.
And I know this because I played on women for so long, and what my saving grace was with getting a woman in the bedroom was being able to hit those emotions, to flood those senses.
Yeah.
Anytime you get a woman's senses, you got them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
And you know, when a man is rooted, like you can tug at his emotions, and maybe in the inside he's gonna be like battling, you know, and kind of like doing math, you know, inside of his brain.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because he's analyzing the situation. His heart goes this way, but then his mind is like,
But he's not emoting.
no.
Right.
He's just still.
Right.
You know, and so that gives us the ability to be more rational. You know what I mean? To actually, because if you sit long enough, you're going to see what's behind the curtains. You know what I'm saying? You're like we were talking earlier, you know, outside of this podcast, like a snake is gonna be a snake.
Yeah.
You know, a lake is gonna be a lake. You know, so if you just stay still long enough, you're gonna see, you know, between the lines, you're gonna see the little things that give away whatever it is that is trying to persuade you.
Right.
You
I
know?
agree.
And unfortunately, what we have created in our recent generation is a whole bunch of men that are very emotional and that are very reactive.
yeah.
Because when you are just reacting, that's just like a reflex. You're not even thinking about it.
Right.
You know, and I think that as men, what we need to cultivate more is to be more stoic, to be more just think about things, reflective.
I don't know if it's a thing that men are not stoic. I think just the generation, was probably around our generation, that more is stoic, is actually been discredited as
Yes.
being emotionally unavailable.
Right.
There you go.
Or
I
toxic.
like that.
Yes. And so if you look
Yes.
at me as if I don't have emotions, you're going to automatically say, I can't connect with him. And I don't want my son to be like you. But the problem is if you take a man out of the household, all he has to look up to is an emotional
Woman.
Of course.
Exactly. And so if that's what he's looking up to, you only can mimic what you always see.
Yes.
And so now you have men running around
Acting like women.
acting like women,
Yes.
telling you how they feel.
Yes.
Like I feel like you wasn't a good father. I feel like you were like you feel like.
Right.
Do you mean you think?
Right.
Yes.
Because men think,
Right.
Yes.
women feel.
Yes.
And they're you know, it's not a knock on women being emotional.
No, it's not. It
Because
has its place.
It has its place and it has its purpose. And women's duty, their role, and yes, I said it because it's the way things are supposed to be, is just as important as ours.
Oh yes.
I don't know where they started thinking that a woman's role is lesser than ours. You know? When they're starting to take away our role of what we're truly supposed to be, which they're doing a great job at, men are becoming women, and women are becoming men. You know?
Yeah.
They're becoming the breadwinners, you know?
Yeah.
And I saw this podcast, somebody was saying, like, you know, my grandmother had all these kids and she was like 90 years old and like she had a legacy right before her.
Right.
You know? As opposed to these women that are career based and that's all they want, Gucci purse, and when you're old and all you have to look is these things that you bought in this career, it's you'll find yourself very empty. You know? Because that's not what you were created to do.
No.
You know? And so if you continue to brainwash and fill the household without men, where does that leave our kids? Where does that leave society in the next 30 years?
Hating us.
Where are men? Though?
Hating us. Hating
Yes.
men. I hate to interrupt this video, but I gotta share something with you guys that's absolutely crazy. You know what it is? 75% of the people that watch this channel are not subscribed. I know, that's crazy. Well, let's take this moment right now to go ahead and hit subscribe, and let's turn on your bell notifications so you never miss a thing. And while we at it, let's go ahead and crush that like button. Hey, I appreciate it. Now let's get back to
Say
it.
something too, like the women are very unsatisfied too, because this is so it's kind of like they're being double played, because when a man is a feminine man, you know, for a moment a woman will be satisfied because she'd be like, well, I'm able to connect with him and he
over him.
understands.
I can get my way.
He understands me,
Right.
and oh my God, he's so emotionally available.
she doesn't
Hold
respect
on, yeah, but when the rubber hits the road and when things need to get done, and he's not able to move forward because he doesn't have that backbone.
He's more emotional than her.
yeah, she is gonna be like, what the heck? Like, you know, and that's why there are so many women frustrated.
Yes.
Because now, unfortunately, they are reaping what the past generation of women were fighting for. And another thing that I wanted to add is like what you were saying is, you know, why did they make it seem, or the system made it seem that being a woman was wrong?
Right.
You know, when you play on the ego of someone and you make it seem that the role is less, you know what I'm saying, than what it really is, you know, that it's not important, that's when usually a revolution happens, you know? Like, think about what happened, you know, during the like slavery and all that, like, you know, like the 60s. Like, they were fighting, you know, black people were fighting for what was right for them, you know, to be free. So, like,
To be treated equal.
To be treated equal, which was due to them. Right? That was a righteous cause, right? But what the enemy has done through many avenues, it pretty much equated, you know, being a woman to kind of like being a slave.
Yeah.
Like, you need to be liberated, you need to be set free from your man, you need to be set free sexually. What does that even mean? You know what I'm saying? So, like, they started to believe this and pushing for equality.
It's an overcorrection. Because, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, back in the 50s, 60s, women were less. It was certain jobs they couldn't get.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a time when women couldn't vote. So, I mean,
Yes,
I'm not
of
going to
course.
say there was no oppression. It wasn't the same
saying
oppression
that.
as slavery.
Yes.
But
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying. But oppression still was there. And I think that the overcorrection was the man is holding you back. And now it's then went completely left. You know what I mean? Like, now they didn't overstep into being men.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the funny part. You hate men, some of them, but now you want to be men.
Yes.
That's the crazy part.
Right.
You know, I want to wear the pants. I want to make the 6-figure job, which is nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying nothing wrong with making money. But what I'm saying is it has become more of this is the way it gotta be. This is the way my life will be, than versus I prefer certain things.
Yes.
You know, and certain liberties.
Yeah, because there was a lot of things women didn't have to worry about before. And there was a leisure, there was a comfort in that, right?
It was.
Yeah.
And I think biblically speaking, right, when God said to Adam after he bit the apple, "Where are you?" You know, it's like, I know God is unable to see you, you know, right? What was he talking about? You know, you and I had this
Talk conversation before.
I placed you in a position of authority, and you're not on the throne,
Right.
right? Someone else is,
Right.
and so whoever's on the throne, which, right, the enemy.
Yep.
So he's deceiving women to think that they're on the throne.
I agree.
And he would prefer them be on the throne because they're easier to be manipulated.
Of course.
Right.
But even the Bible talks about Eve was deceived. Adam wasn't. They both sinned.
Right.
But one was deceived. The other one made a clear, concise decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously there's one that he can manipulate more than the other.
Of course.
The enemy, that is. Of
course.
Right. So I think that's definitely what we're seeing, the backdrop of everything. And then it's this thing also. I was thinking about something, gentlemen, I want y'all to think about. I start thinking about how Adam was created, or man was created in the image of God.
Yes.
And the enemy does nothing original. He only perverts.
Yes.
Right? And in his perversion, he needs an image too. What is his image? The feminine man.
Yes.
The perverted man. Homosexuality, the homosexual man. I need something that's perverted to reflect what I am, because he's perverted.
Right.
You know, and in an image is the most easiest thing to make the next generation just like it.
Yeah.
When you make a man that's just like God, it's easy for a younger man to look up to that person and become a man of God.
I think-
So what happens when you have a feminine man? That's my point in all of this. It makes it easier to want to duplicate those same qualities.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying, where does that put us? You know.
To be hated. Like, I'm going to take a step further. I'm going to say, like, it's even transgenderism. You know, being like, if you're born a man, completely removing your genitals, taking puberty blockers and doing a whole bunch of medical procedures on you so that you can actually become a woman.
Right.
And the reason why I'm saying this is because if you guys have seen the statue of the Baphomet, which is Satan, he is a non-gender statue, he has the breasts. You can tell that it's a male, but
it's also
a woman. So has the breast of a female, and I don't think he has any genitalia, but you can tell that it's a masculine figure. So he's reflecting both genders.
Which is exactly what you were saying.
Yeah, to his image. And so I think that the enemy has been pushing the envelope slowly, inch by inch. He's not going mile by mile. He's going very slowly because he knows that if you give like very big pushback, you're going to receive a lot of opposition.
Absolutely.
But if you just take an inch away, little by little, that inch is going to turn into a mile eventually.
Absolutely.
And so what he's been doing is, first, gay people, they need to be accepted.
Right.
Okay, so it was gay and lesbians. Why do you think that LGBTQ
They added.
plus, it has like, I don't know how many genders.
Yeah, they kept adding letters. Yeah.
And then they continue to add more and more.
Or confusion.
But now is more on like the transgender people.
Right.
And there has been, like, studies have shown that during the past 10 years, kids have started to identify as like non-gender confirming, and the percentages have skyrocketed. You know, because this is being pushed in schools.
Absolutely.
And what really saddens me and infuriates me is when you support kids that are like 12 to like 16 to do this, to have surgeries. You know, when they are going through just a period of confusion, you know, that's when they are the most vulnerable, and then you are allowing them to do this instead of saying, hey, why don't you hold on until you're an adult and see if you still want to
feel that way. Yeah.
I saw this this show Tamron Hall was doing, and she was interviewing this lady whose agenda was to take the education of homosexuality through these books in the library of elementary schools.
Yeah. Put it in school.
They were putting it in school, and she's trying to take them out. You know, like kids have no business, right? Even knowing about anything sexual right now in this stage.
Right.
And she was all bashing this lady for taking these books out of schools, and that blew me away.
It's so interesting. A lot of people would argue with what you're saying, like, well, there are people that's born gay, and that's the reason why we want to educate them while they're young, because they're born that way. But let me tell you something, man. The Bible says that we all were shaped in iniquity. Yes. Some people were shaped to be over-sexual. Some people were shaped to be angry, easily angry. Everybody has their own trait. They have that flaw. We were shaped in iniquity. Yes. But no matter what that flaw is, we should not be pushing them into their flaws. Correct. We should be pushing them into their freedom in Christ. You know what I mean? Because no matter what it is, even after you get saved, you still got to face you at the end of the day. Yes. We still got our own demons that we are fighting. Christ does not exclude you from the fight. He just empowers you to win. Right. So that's the way I look at that. I think people just look at that all wrong. Whatever your propensity is from the day you was born, you still got to resist.
Yeah. And bro, homosexuality, I even heard like this one gay dude. He's gay and he openly admitted, and it's like, first of all, even I know that the children are off limits, right? Because homosexuality is not who you are. Yeah. That's your sexual preference.
Yes.
Yeah. And we're in schools amongst minors talking about sexual preference. You should be a pedophile. You should be considered a pedophile. You should be locked up.
Yeah.
You have no business talking about sexual preference to a child. Elementary school.
Yeah.
But what did that look like as well when we have a homosexual couple that adopt a child? I mean, even if they saying to this person, you can choose any sexuality you want, their lifestyle is actually influenced. Like we all influence our children on some degree.
Yes.
And I think that's the agenda, to unconsciously influence the next generation to be liberal. Liberal to do what? Liberal to sin.
Anything you want.
Exactly.
And that's
Think about
that's
these
the
kids
mantra
that you
of-
said that they're letting do these sex
Yeah.
changes.
Yes.
And you're, 25 years old, and you hate your parents because why would you let me do such a
Yes.
thing? I was 12 years old.
Yes.
What is wrong with
But hold on, like the laws of certain states
Yeah.
actually will emancipate those kids and will take those kids away from the parents.
Yes.
you? What do you mean?
Yeah, like they will remove the parents out of the situation legally and say now these kids are emancipated. They have the right to decide on their own if they want to proceed with the sex change, if they want to do whatever it is. Like they are, I don't understand. It's like, okay, so you can't buy alcohol until you're 21, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But you are allowed
to have a sex change.
A sex change when you are, I think, as early as 10 years old.
Castrate yourself. Yeah.
You know, that is an atrocity.
backwards. It's
That is an
backwards.
atrocity.
It's backwards.
If you were to ask me,
It's backwards.
Where's the abuse? The neglect. These parents should be.
No, but I'm telling you, like some of the parents are fighting, but
the government is fighting on behalf of the child.
Yeah.
I've heard of such things as well. Yeah, it's the government, man. It's bigger than the parents. Some of it is parents.
Yeah, some of it is
a lot
parents.
of it is.
Yeah, some of it is
Yeah,
parents.
but there are parents who are actually pushing
I did
back.
not.
and
I
saying-
wasn't aware of the
Yeah,
government.
there are laws.
Yeah.
There are laws, and
certain
just-
states. Yeah.
Yeah, certain states
Yeah.
they have that, and I just, like the enemy is going for the most vulnerable
Absolutely.
now, because
Absolutely.
now he sees that window of opportunity. We have become so liberal, and actually what you said is like that is the mantra of Satanism, do what thy will.
Mm-hmm.
And that's translated on to be you.
Do
Do you.
Yep. Do you?
Do you? But what does that mean when you have a flawed foundation?
Yeah.
If your foundation is being a drug addict, being a pedophile, being a sex addict, or whatever it is, if it's flawed and society is encouraging you to do you're going to produce more of that.
Absolutely. So you're going to take your moral compass, toss it over your shoulder, and do whatever your appetite is guiding you to do in that moment. That is animalistic.
Yes.
That is what you see in nature. It's the strongest survival of the fittest.
Yes.
That's the kind of what with the atmosphere we're creating, like we're animals. And see, that's the whole thing. I love the way God set things up. He set things up for man to rule over everything.
Yes.
And the enemy, I wonder how much the enemy brings before God, because he's the slanderer of the brethren, and say, you created these creatures that's supposed to dominate the earth, and here they are, they can't even dominate a plant. They addicted to tobacco. They addicted to the coca leaf. They're addicted to you supposed to rule the earth, and they can't even rule their backyard, the garden that's in their backyard.
Wow.
I wonder if those conversations that God has or Satan is trying to have with God, man, it minimizes the ability and the power and authority that we have. It minimizes us. It makes us look crazy, bro.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think that the minute, because now we're used to that, and the minute strong men come that are embracing their masculinity, the minute that they come and they try to influence other men to stand up,
Being silenced.
they are silenced
Absolutely.
quickly.
Very quickly. Be
Why?
quiet.
Because it is a threat. When men are strong, men are like, let me just paint a picture to you. 10 strong men can create a movement, that can change communities. It only takes, just a few men to change complete communities,
But that's the thing. We already know a kingdom divided can't stand. So I'm black, you Hispanic, right? Well, guess what? I'm going to whisper in your ear. I'm going to put something in your ear that Mexicans don't like blacks. Blacks don't like Mexicans.
Yeah.
So why? even if we're strong men, we're going to find some superficial reason
Yes.
not to be on the same page
agree.
to fight. And that's the whole goal, why he divides and conquers. He'll find something. Oh, you got money, I don't got money. Man, we can't rock together. We two different social classes, that financial classes, like that.
Perspective
Yeah,
changes.
he's always going to find or try to find something that makes us different and use that to divide us.
Yes. But look at the contrast, what God does. He unites people that are so different outwardly,
Yes.
and brings them together. Like I go, Willow Creek, that's my church.
Okay.
It is very diverse. It has all kinds of ethnicities, races, colors, whatever you want to call it. But we are united because of Christ. That's what brings us together.
Yes.
That's what makes us strong.
Yes.
And
that's the whole point, bro. Being with people that's like-minded. If you can rally around something that's bigger than yourself, if you can rally around a vision that's bigger than yourself, like what we doing,
Right.
then it has nothing to do with color. It has nothing to do with money. It has something to do with bettering those that are watching. And that's why we do what we do. Hey, listen, guys, I hope that this conversation blessed you. I ask that you guys continue to check us out. Hey, believe this, we gonna be on our post holding it down, ready to say.
Yes.
But
the church won't say.
Till next time.